All right, Rahubat, Musa, Rahubat. Okay, another week. Greetings to all. We have a lot to cover as usual. Let's see. We're going to get started here. Okay. All right. Let's get started. Now, for those who do not know me, my name is Peti Sina Tebtu Re'e, and I've been over a 30-year student teacher of the profound doctrine of the master teacher, known to us as Panabab Yananan, also known as Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, who has been teaching us our ancient culture we identify as Wu-Sabat, also known as Wu-Nawab, which stands for those who make decisions based on sound right reasonability, based on the principles of Ma'at, based on the wisdom of the Hutri. In essence, what it means is our culture is about living in harmony with natural nature, right? Some call it animism. As in Africans, we was always in tune or connected to nature. And so the original culture, we called it Wu-Sabat, Wu-Sabat or Wu-Nawab. And it was about being connected to nature, making decisions connected to nature, being one with nature. Everything we did, how we lived, how we ate, how we built things, everything was always trying to maintain that balance, which is what Ma'at is all about. We argue that black people who are suffering, we're all suffering all over the world, no matter where you come from. You can be black in Brazil, you can be black in Mexico, you can be black in Germany or wherever. Black people are catching hell and has been catching hell for the last 500 years or almost 6,000 years really. And we're saying we're suffering due to the fact we got away from our original culture that worked for us, and we have adapted foreign cultures, in particularly Western culture. And we argue that Western culture has been a nightmare, a living nightmare for us. And the only way that these bad conditions are going to change in a positive for us is for us to get away from the cultures that are destroying us and get back to our original way of doing things. And that's Wu-Sabat. And so all of our discussions, our lectures, everything we do is about re-educating our people about this culture and why it's so significant and why it's so important. And so we dedicate ourselves to trying our best to educate the public about the power and gift of this culture we call Wu-Sabat. And so every week we do these question and answer classes. I'm one of many students who have dedicated themselves to trying their best to educate our people, right? And so it's Tuesday. We do these live classes every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. to around 9 p.m. The classes go, and it's designed to help you guys on your journey for truth. Those who choose to be students, those who are studying our information. You know, our goal is to try to help as many people as we possibly can. So, with that all being said, before we get started, let's see. In regards to understanding our culture, we as Sabians, we identify as we live by principles. And so for those who are familiar with us, you guys know about the principles, and I go over it every week. But for those who are new, it's important that you understand our principles that we live by, our culture, because our lectures, our discussions are really based around the principles of our culture. And so we try to have the lectures to make our principles and our culture more comprehensible, easy for people to comprehend, because a lot of people have a hard time when they're reading and studying our doctrine. And so our discussions are designed to help people comprehend our books, because the master teacher has written hundreds and hundreds of books explaining our culture, our purpose, what we should be doing, what we should not be doing. And so these lectures are designed to try to help make our books clearer, right? Give you guys better comprehension of our doctrine. So now, with all that being said, oh, the sound is bad. The sound is bad. Okay. I'm glad you guys told me that. Let's see, 1 2 1 2. Let me know. Press 1 if it's okay, and if it's bad, press 2 still. 1 2 1 2. I'll work on it. Try to get my sound together. Let me know. Good. It's good. Okay. Is it not good? Or is it good? It's good. Yeah. Okay, Eating Moth said it's not good. He says number 2. So it sounds bad to him. Okay, Kim said it's 1. It's good. Alright. Okay. So, well, just guys keep me up to date, because yeah, sound, for whatever reason, I don't know why we keep having these issues with sound. You know. I don't think it's my speaker. I got a pretty good speaker. You know, it's new. It's not like it's an old speaker. I did reconnect. I turned it off, eating off, and reconnected it. Oh, you hear like a white noise background? It's still a little static. I wonder if it's something, because now we're in the age of wireless everything. So now I'm wondering whether or not it's another wireless interference with the mic. Let's see. What about now? Is that better? Is any better? Say 1 if the sound is a little bit better. Because okay. It's better than before. All right. All right, well, we'll try to get started. Hopefully it'll work out, and everybody will hear me just fine. So I'll do my best. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but it happens. Okay, so we were saying, for those who are new, again, we go over our principles of Wu-Sabat, right? And I'm always telling you guys, even you guys may be seasoned, it's always good to study our principles. I'm always telling you guys to watch the videos more than once, to really study the essence of what we're teaching. Why? Because you're supposed to integrate the teachings into your day-to-day actions, into your life. And the only way you're going to be able to, live the culture is once you really comprehend it. And you won't really be able to comprehend what we're teaching unless you're really studying what we're teaching. So that's why it's necessary to keep watching the lectures and really begin to comprehend the concepts, the principles. And because the whole goal is to make your life better. That's what we're striving for, is a better life. So we're gonna keep it going. So now, principle number 1 is Ashak, right? Ashak stands for divine love, right? We say the power of love. We did a lecture on that, so we're always recommending people, for those who have not watched the lecture, definitely check it out. And if you have, watch it again. As we always say, principle number 2 is resurrection, which is about becoming goddesses and gods by opening our third eye, as our ancestors used to live prior to 6,000 years ago. We did lectures on that, so definitely check that out. Principle number 3 is the wisdom of Dahutri and Ma'at. Dahutri stands for our divine mind, and Ma'at stands for order. We did lectures on that, so definitely check that out for those who have not. And if you haven't watched it in a while, definitely watch it again. Principle number 4 is relationships. As an African people, we always lived of, for, and by each other as tribes, as communities. And we argue our problems won't fix itself until we get back to that type of living, community living, and get away from capitalism, which is really destroying us. We did a lecture on that, so definitely check that out, guys. Principle number 4 of morphic resonance / matrix. Morphic resonance deals with sound, color, vibration, frequency, tones, and it's what the universe is based on, these morphic resonant fields that produces matrices, and matrices are the materials, things that manifest from these tones, these sounds, right? Principle number 6 is soul and spirit. Your soul. I've been meaning to change this. Guys. This should be principle number 7 and not principle number 6, because principle number 6 actually should be Leviathan, and I've been meaning to correct this, and so I can correct this now with you guys being here. But yeah, that's what I don't know why I made that mistake, but principle number 6 should be Leviathan, because Leviathan is 6 ether. It stands for 6, and Leviathan is moon culture aka religion, aka Western culture, right? That's what we're at war with. We're fighting. We've been, Leviathans, is what's been plaguing us, the spirit forces of Leviathan, right? The invisible spirit forces and their children, the Mukasu, the living embodiment of Leviathan in the flesh, right? So watch our lectures on that, guys. Definitely, for those who haven't seen it, and if you haven't watched it in a while, definitely watch it again. It's very important. I can't stress that. You guys, it's very important to comprehend the concepts of Leviathan inside and out. I can't stress that enough, guys, because that's really what we're dealing with. Okay. And principle number 7 is soul and spirit. Your soul is your emotional force. Your spirit is your life force. We did lectures on that, so definitely check that out. Principle number 8 is health. Health starts with a positive mind. The first key to health, right? As melanated people, sunlight. We need a lot of sunlight. Water. Our body is 70% water. Fasting. We recommend at least once or twice a week. Herbal diet, as Dr. Sabre taught us. Exercising. You must exercise for health. Rhythmic breathing, guys. Rhythmic breathing is necessary for health. Meditation, concentration, prayer, and chanting. All are prerequisites for health. As we always teach, health is not just physical, but it's also spiritual. That is one of the biggest difference between us as Africans. We always taught this, right? As the Europeans, they don't teach spirituality as a part of health because they're materialists. They're hardcore materialists, in fact. Okay, but now you guys know. Now, last principle to acknowledge is Pa'ut, the creative force itself, right? Pa'ut just means all of existence, the creation force. And creation is based on what we call the SMAT, which stands for cycles. Existence is based on perpetual cycles, sun cycles, moon cycles, sun cycle, moon cycle. It's perpetual. From a universal level to a galactic level to a solar system level. Always, everything is based on cycles. And the creation energy itself is, we call it Akak, right? And that's the creation energy. It translates into the word ether. Okay, so it's important to know that. Now, for those who are students of Wu-Sabat, as a student, we have 3 goals. Goal number 1 is to raise the self. Goal number 2 is to fight Leviathan. And goal number 3 is to work to build Sabbatia. In goal number 1, in raising the self, your first objective is to be born again, as Christians teach, right? Is to give up the old culture, the Western culture, and to start living the culture of Wu-Sabat, right? In so doing, one of the first objectives is to correct your name. Not change your name, but correct your name. That's important. To a Sabaean name, to an African name. Correct how you look and dress. That's important. Learn to speak the language, Sabaic. You must study our doctrine every day, which builds your sound, right reasoning skills, guys. And you must practice and master our daily rituals, which is designed to turn you inside out. That's how you're going to open up your third eye. And you must always be positive if you want to achieve any worthwhile goal. And then goal number 2 is our fight with Leviathan, right? This includes working to free Panababianan, promoting Wu-Sabat, become a student teacher, and fight the 6 strongest weapons of Leviathan, which are ignorance, fear, ego, our anger, our lusts and desires, and lies/deceptions. Okay? And then the last goal of a Sabaean is to work to build Sabbatia. We work to support each other in businesses. We help each other reach positive goals. We help to build our culture. We must set up a landing zone for Panathato in Africa, which means we need land in Africa that would be supported by an African government. Now, Ashok is the key to accomplish all our goals. Now, what does it mean to be a Sabaean? A Sabaean is someone who is thoughtful and cares, someone who is helpful and honest, someone who is responsible and hardworking, someone who demands justice and honorable, someone who is righteous and humble, someone who is positive and cheerful, someone who is loving and peaceful, someone who is kind and considerate, and someone who is neat, clean, and orderly. Now, our purpose is to liberate ourselves from adverse forces. This is what we should be working on each and every day. Number 1, you must take action each and every day to free yourself of 6 ether spirits inside and out, which includes black people who are possessed by these spirit forces. And then number 2, acknowledge and fight 6 ether from promoting capitalism, the gay agenda, miscegenation, the so-called equality of the races, racism, white supremacy, etc. And then number 3 is to learn, live by, and promote the laws/rules of natural nature. Okay? So this is what our purpose is, guys. You know, the ultimate goal is liberation. Now, word of advice, do not judge this doctrine by watching the behavior of Panabab Yanana nor his students. Judge this doctrine by the effectiveness of the information, aka information, that you personally put to practical use. This doctrine is based on self-authentication. Know that we are not preachers, but teachers who are dedicated to answering questions until there is a meeting of the minds between the teacher and the student, who then can work in unity, which is the only solution to our problems. Okay. Now, with all that being said, before we get started on our lesson, we do our prayer. So we want to do our prayers. For those who are familiar with it, you guys know the deal. For those who are not familiar with it, we always do our prayer in our language, or Lahaj means language. Lahaj means language of Sabre, and then we go over in English so you guys can follow along suit. And it's highly recommended, guys, for you guys to start saying the prayers along with me. For you guys sitting at home, learn to start saying the prayers along with me. That's very important. That's what today's discussion is going to be about, right? Prayers. Okay. Bade kalal namasat wufad ko aman kasamun shalal pu'ut. Panan safa kawun. Pasawa wu patara. Z kawuna nazula laha enkum. Manam aspat Wu-Sabat. Amah haday en un shafe'un. Manay salafu wu nataru. Aju laye nafasu kum. Afuk sheneg kawun kuma. Pasawa wu patara. This book is the truth and the way. It was sent down for you all from Sabat Wu-Sabat, star constellation, as a guidance and a healing. From your ancestors and overseers, return to your own. Accept what is yours, the truth and the way. Anun tawa ankum lehe panan shafe'un wu alaj. Anun tawa ankum lehe nasuinun. Anun tawa ankum lehe ashuk. Ankum ata sulafunun. Anun ata khara'ukum. Anun talub nasakuma. Anun talub nasakuma. And so nun sayem nataru. And so nun salafunun. Anun ata musba'u. We thank you all for this healing and cure. We thank you all for not forgetting us. We thank you all for Ashuk. You are our ancestors. We are your children. We seek your help. We seek your help. Help us, divine overseers. Help us, our ancestors. We are Musba'u. Anun. Atun. Atun. Amun. Gen 4. Alrighty then. So, today's discussion is why we pray, chant, and do rituals. Okay. We have a lot to cover. It's a lot. Hopefully I can get it all in today's discussion. I'm gonna try because it's a lot, guys. I warn you up front. I highly gonna recommend you guys watching this discussion. Definitely more than once. Take your time because there's a lot of concepts we're gonna get into. A lot of the concepts might be new to you guys. For those who are not familiar with it, so there's a lot of concepts we gotta cover, and so hopefully we'll get everything out. But I just want to kind of forewarn you. It'd be in your best interest to definitely take your time out to listen to this discussion again. Definitely more than once, guys. I highly recommend it. Now, okay, with that being said, so the topic is why we pray, chant, and do rituals. Okay, question: what is prayer? Answer: prayer is a system or way people say words which are designed to communicate with a higher power, or words to talk to a higher power, or words designed to ask a higher power for guidance or help. Prayer is a form of affirmation designed to put certain thoughts in your mind which govern your actions and deeds. Prayer is designed to give those who say them strength, confidence, and clarity of mind. Prayer is a powerful tool that is used for good and bad, for there is power in prayer, in spoken words, for words are power. Pandabab Yananan, the master teacher, has always taught us the importance of prayer and the proper way for one to pray, for this too is important to know. We publish many prayer books, and one of the latest is the one I read from every week. That book I just read from is one of the prayer books that we put out, one of the latest, guys. We also have a ritual format for prayer that was done in ancient Egypt by our ancestors, which was copied by today's Muslims. So, when you look at how Muslims pray, you are also looking at how your ancestors prayed. Okay, so guys, we put out the master teacher put out a book. Guys, first of all, this is one of the prayer books that we have, one of the current books. Just so you know, the name of this is Pa Balag M Yananan, the message of Yanun. And this is a book of prayers, guys. It's excellent. You know, it's a very good book. And the master teacher put out tons and tons of prayer books. Okay, now we also have a ritual system of prayer, right? For those who don't know, we actually put out a prayer book, and we broke down the different formats. You know, we have like 9 positions that we go through in with prayer. Okay, and so this book goes into the different positions. So this is position 1 in the prayer, where you stand. It's like standing at attention. Position 2, where you go into you raise your arms. Position 3 is like you're bowing. This is when when you raise your arms, you're acknowledging the power of the universe, the power of the sun, of Ra'e itself. Is something our ancestors did. If you notice in the above picture, in the hieroglyphs, they show the positions in the hieroglyphs of how our ancestors did it. Okay, guys? And then the bowing. In Islam, they call the bowing called ruku. Okay, this is a position in Islam, and in Islamic prayer. They got it from us. Next position is, it's almost like you put your hands up, right? It's like an energy stance you have, and then you take a step, right? With your right foot, you take a step. That's another position we do, and then you kneel. Right, this is another position, and then you go into bow. In Islam, we call that sajda, when you bow. So, in the Muslim traditions, this is one of the positions that they actually do as well in their prayer. And then you go jasa, is a sitting position. Again, they do this in Islam. Right, all this comes out of ancient Kemet. Okay, so these are the different positions of prayer, and so we have for each position you go into, you say a specific prayer. Okay, and so I just kind of wanted to make you guys familiar that we have a ritualistic system for prayer and how you do it. Okay, so let's move on from there. Okay, question: what is chanting? Answer: chanting is being able to speak or sing words in one tone, such as the A tone. When one says the word Amun or Om repeatedly, it creates a vibration within the cells of the body. For example, an example of this would be rubbing your hands together very fast, which speeds the cells in your body, creating heat. Well, chanting is the same principle. So, guys, like if you was to do this and rub your hand, rub really fast, and then you feel the heat. That's the cells basically vibrating, right, and heating up. Well, when you're doing chanting, it is designed to create the same effect. Okay, it's designed to create the same effect. Of course, you have to do chanting over long periods of time. It takes weeks and months to get to the effect that we're looking for. Okay, but I just kind of want to give you an idea what chanting, why we do chanting. Okay. And so the purpose of chanting is to raise the body's vibration in harmony with one's spirit. Okay, this is your ultimate goal. Why you do chanting and prayers is to raise the body's vibration in harmony with one's spirit. Okay, we are a broken people today because our ancestors were in tune with their spiritual nature, and we are not. In fact, we are totally ignorant to the nature of our own spirit and soul force within, which is why you have the famous Bible quote exists, which is John chapter 1. It says, that quote in the Bible, if you read it, it says, "In him was life, and the life was the light of men, but the light," which is your spirit energy, "the light shineth within the darkness of the body, and the body comprehended not." You don't comprehend your own spirit force within you. And now keep in mind, that quote was written 2,000 years ago. Just to let you know that our people were spiritually ignorant back then, 2,000 years ago. Only people who was a part of the mystical schools, the mystical orders, and high priests in our cultures knew these sciences, and they were the ones that was trying to teach those who choose to be initiates, like you guys. All Sabians are choosing to travel the spiritual path to learn. But as you already know, majority of the people don't care. Let's keep going. Now, chanting with a positive mind helps one connect with their spirit body. Once a person is able to connect with their spirit body, their natural five senses become heightened, in addition to them having access to other senses that come alive within the person. At this point, one becomes in tune with natural nature, also being able to communicate with your ancestors who exist in higher dimensions. Now, let's go back. When we talked about here, we put out a book called Our Tones. It's a Patarak, and I want to go over this particular book with you guys because it's extremely important on this subject matter. Okay, let's see. Let me go here. Actually, before I go into that book, I want to go into this passage right here. This book right here is the book we put out called "Is There Eternal Life After Death?" Okay, and it covers a concept we just talked about. It's talking about the energy seats in the body, right? We as Nagata, we have 9 energy seats. Okay, we have 9 energy seats. So when you're doing prayer, rituals, chanting, you're trying to raise each of your 9 seats. Now, this is a depiction or breakdown, let me just show you this, of the different 9 energy seats that we have. Okay, we talked about this before, and it is important that you guys are familiar with it. Now, so you have your crown seat, which is your energy center, is the top of your head. Okay, that's the 9th center, the 9th point. And then you have the 8th point, which is in the middle of your forehead. Okay, and then you have the 7th point, which is your nasal. This is an energy center for us, Nagato. And then the 6th point is your throat, right? The 5th point is your heart center. The fifth point. The 4th energy center is your solar plex. Is right above your navel. Your solar plex, right? That's your 4th point. The 3rd point is your navel, where your stomach is. Your navel, right? That's your third point. The 2nd point is where your genitals are. The male and female genitals is the 3rd point area. And the root chakra is your buttocks. Okay? That's the base of the buttocks area. So those are the 9 points, just so that you guys are familiar with that. Now that you know. Okay. So now let's see where we at. Okay, now we're gonna go into this book. Where is it? Over here. Okay, this is a Patara. It's called Our Tones, which is the wavelength of A. Okay, so this is a very important book that we put out. That It's designed to help you comprehend why we pray, because that's what this discussion is about. Why we do it, why we do these rituals, why prayer is necessary, because there's a science to it. Okay? And I want you guys to be totally familiar why we do these things. Okay? So this particular book goes into that. So yeah, no. So let's go from here. Okay. All right. Our tones, which is wavelength, which is A. It starts off saying Lekum Aye Yasar Nuop-U. For you all, by family, Nuwapians, I greet you. Mare Kharad-U, beloved children, with much ashuk, divine love. I have sent you much affirmation that came to earth as information in the form of words. As their holy books say, in the beginning was the word, and the other of their holy books say that the madat, the word, was to be. And in Hebrew, that word was called kun, right? And in their language, their God says be, or the Quran, it talks about be and it shall be, and the word they use is kun. It means to exist also. So, okay. And madat, the words are a sawat, voice, and voices are sounds, and sounds are tones, and tones are frequencies. In music, that are notes, pitch, and key. So anything that has to do with words is sound, music. So no matter the volume, has rules of frequency and wavelengths. Know that frequencies are only resonant when the one wavelength is an exact multiple of the other of the same key. Now, on a piano keyboard of 88 keys of repeated octaves of 8 keys of major notes, white keys, and 5 keys of sharp and flats, we deal with the major to get harmony. Okay, so the note A is the body's tone. So our body, guys, vibrate on the tone of the A, on the A tone. Okay, that's important to know that for those who don't. Like when a baby comes into the world, it comes in saying the A tone, which is ah. The baby's crying like ah. That's the A tone, and your body, the human body, vibrates on that tone. Okay, the planet Earth also has a frequency, and the Earth vibrates on the F tone, and nature itself, the cosmos, the universe, vibrates on the C tone. Right? They enunciate it as kh, kh. It's almost like a hard K sound almost. Okay? So it goes on to say, so to link with Pa Salafu, our ancestors who are now elemental beings or Akaku, etheric beings, you need the key of C, guys, the C tone, in order to communicate with them. To align your physical kata body with them, you need the A, the key of A. So in order to connect with our ancestors, you first got to get your body vibrating on the A tone in order to connect to the C tone. Okay? That's important to know. To create harmony between you need the key of F. So the foundation is the A. Newborn babies, when they enter into the world, the first sound they make is the frequency or A note. Like I said that already. This is the root key of your body. The 3 together creates FAC or FAC for both males on the left side of middle C and females on the right side of middle C, which is located at the center of the keyboard. Let's talk about a piano. Now, in order to have perfect pitch using tuning forks held in the left hand for unison, you must always be in the key of A, and for harmony, it is FAC. Now, the Patai humanoid's hearing apparatus is such a way that it is tuned to the frequency of A, a music scale, and the distance between the Patai eardrum is an exact fraction of the wavelength of the note A. Guys, when you talk about Patai, we're talking about our ancestors, the Ta'ites, the Sans tribe. Their bodies were harmonically created. That's what he's trying to say. Our ears, he's going to go into it, just so you know. He goes and says, so your human khatat, human body, has been tuned when you were designed. Your natural height was 4 feet 5 inches for females and 5 feet 4 inches for males. Okay? And this was a symbol in ancient Kemet. It was called the Tayat, or Tatat. Okay? And they shorten it for Tet. And it stands for seed or blood seed, guys. Now, your whole body used to resonate on a resonant frequency as a resonator of the perfect pitch A. You have been untuned after much mixing and unnatural intakes, be it foods or liquids of any kind. You have been mixed with unnatural DNA, and many of our females have slept with or drank from more than one male or more, and after 4 males, this transforms her DNA. So you all must be retuned now that you have taken on a much larger body structure and weight. Know that the whole music scale, the whole sonic temperament obeys the same rules of the frequency, which is sound right reasoning. It is music. Your voice is music. Your heart beats in rhythm, a tempo, or at least it used to. Substance like coffee changes your heart rate. Now you are drugged by food, drinks, and contacts, your fears and fright. All of this done to untune your body from A to change your sound, color, size, and weight. The actual physical and energy structure of your human being, your entire structure. So guys, this culture he's trying to explain has altered us in many ways, right? Now there are 3 adamat bones in your fingers, 3 parts to your arm and your hand, your forearm to your shoulder, foot 1 part, then up to the kawa, the knee, and on to the calf. In sections of 3, your entire structure was well planned so that you would vibrate on a certain frequency and be in tune with structures and buildings such as the pyramids and the obelisks. All things vibrate, therefore you also vibrate. The reason for the chanting is for you to be or get back on the right notes with taba'al taba, which is natural nature, and also to become a clean you inside and out, or outside and in, from who you exchange fluids with and their past 4 generations of relatives. As a people, if you do not wish to chant in unison of A and together in harmony with Fak, then that is your choice to remain unaligned. You will remain under the control of other beings, humankind or otherwise, who are not on the same vibration as you once were and need to return. The best instrument to help align you is the one found in India. It is called a harmonium. And this is the harmonium, guys. It says it is a keyboard that uses wind and not electricity. You pump it with your right hand as you hold the note or keys down with your left hand, or vice versa if you are left-handed. This is for perfect pitch. I do feel this will help you all if you will perform together. You now have the keys you've been asking for. It is a fact that once you all chant in the same tone at the same time, or you have a group of people singing together, your heartbeats actually synchronize. This is a form of guided breathing, and as a choir sings the same notes and exhale and inhale the same, the heart rate is regulated by the breathing. When one exhale, the heart rate slows down. A choir is synchronizing by the melody and rhythm of the song or music they are singing, then internally with the breathing and the heart rate. There was an article posted that speaks about studies, research, and effects when people sing together, guys. So this is article. I'm not going to read it, but it was a study done how people who sing together, like choirs, their heart rate actually lines up, their vibrations line up. And this is what the master teacher has been trying to teach us, to do the chanting and the prayer as a group, as a body, as a collective. And this is again why we pray, why it's important to pray, because it allows us to connect with these frequencies, with the universe itself. Okay, let's keep going. So it has also been proven and documented through studies that there is a synchronicity of heartbeats when groups of people chant, sing, or hum together, becoming one. In fact, when exposed to a very small electrical charge as your bodies make on A major, it absorbs the natural nature energy and stores it. It acts as a capacitor, an energy storage device, or a superconductor, conducting information into information instantly from beyond this dimension. Conducting information into information instantly from beyond this dimension or into this universe. Mental to mind, guys. What he's trying to explain, as you're vibrating on the note A, your body actually creates an electrical charge, and that electrical charge opens you up to another dimension or a higher frequency or vibrational portal. And this is how you're able to download information from the universe. Guys, hold on for a second.
The bus will be located at Marwood Elementary School from 9 a.m.
Sorry about that, guys. All right, let's get back. Okay, so I hope you understand that when you're chanting, your body, when you get your body vibrating on the note A, your body creates an electrical energy field. Okay, and this is what opens you up to the other realms, and we're gonna get into that more anyway as we go on. Okay, so going to say, so when exposed to these minute amount of energy, it responds in such a way that it actually floats. Yes, Mumba'u, which means golden children, you can float or hover as a craft. For those who have traveled with me through the many schools of thought, you have experienced this in various chanting circles that we have had. Guys, the master, he was teaching us these arts of chanting when we first started. Guys, that's important to know. When from the 70s to the 80s, in fact, let me divert to another book real quick, just to give you guys some insight on it, what he's been teaching us over the years. Where are we at? This right here, Wadifa. For those who are familiar with, now this particular book came out in 1988. You see how long that is? And this was a book on chanting, right? Because once you're able to do certain, get your body vibrating at a certain tone, you can heal yourself. Okay, and so this was a technique that the master teacher was teaching us when we were in the school of Islam, when we were in the school of Sufi order. So this is a picture of back in the day of one of the thicker circles that we made, where the brothers would get together in a circle and we would do a specific dance and say a specific chant, and it was designed to elevate us and raise your vibration. Guys, I've been a part of these chants. I had never been in a thicker circle like this, but I've been a part of the chants when in that school, in those schools, right? And you feel elevated, guys. You feel your energies vibrating when we was in the masjid, and so it's very real. The experience, it's very real. There's power in learning how to tap into these frequencies. That's my point. Okay, and so this whole book, like I said, came out in 1988, going into this information. So what I'm trying to tell you, this knowledge is not new. The master teacher has been trying to teach us this, for some time now, guys. So let's keep going. All right, so now he goes, so those pure souls unified will have the power to raise the people literally from the floor. You should record the tones so you can loop the sound in your homes or temple. That way the sound does not end and you all become a part of it. Then record the human voices on the same keys or notes and blend them or mix them as one. That way, when all together to Ranum chant, you have the correct tones always playing behind you to keep everyone on key. Now, males, the male are on the bass clef for the notes Fa, and the females on treble clef for the notes of Fa. And children under age 9 are also on the treble clef on note A. Okay, so guys, the master is just saying, first of all, when you're chanting, you must keep a continuous tone going. Okay, so that's why it's important to chant as a group, because if you're doing it individually, you got to breathe, so you have to rest. So while you're resting, when you're in a group, someone else is holding that tone, and so the tone is continuous. So if I'm chanting Amun, Amun, as I'm ending, somebody else is starting it. Amun, as they ending, someone else is starting, and so it's a continual tone going, and that's how. This is how do you feel the vibrations. This is how you raise your vibration as a body, as a group. Okay, it's extremely important to understand this principle. Okay, let's keep going. So you hum aum or amun, or whichever you decide, right? So these are the three chants you can choose: aum or om or amun. Yet you must hold and cycle or hold this tone. Each person starts one after the other, so there is no break in the sound. That way the sound itself is continuous and all are able to breathe without there being a break or ceasing of the tone. In your tones with Anun, Atun, Atun, and Amun. So that's how we end it, guys. And you know I do that all the time when I do the prayers. That's how we end out, the prayers that we do. Okay? So it says, wake up, my children, for now is that time to attune to your 24,000 genomes, 24 hours a day, the 24,000 year cycle. And so he gave us a prayer to learn in the back of this book, and I'll say this one prayer real quick because I like it. It says, Yaye Nataro Satat Asmua Lini, Yaye Nataro Satat Asmua Lani, Anuki Kharadu Kum Asmuani, Yaye Nataro Satut Akbulni, Nakuk Nadui Salafuni, Lis Nasar, Yayena Taro Afudni Bi Kalal, Shaye at Munanu Pa Mudwau. Okay. And that translates, O Nataro, please listen for me. I am you all's child. Hear me. O Nataro, please accept me. I call my ancestors for help. O Natharu, guard me by way of all things from the evil ones. Okay, so that was a prayer that you guys can learn. I think it's really cool. All right, so now let's go back to our discussion. Okay, so question. What are the additional rituals that we do? Answer. In addition to prayer and chanting, we also meditate. We do concentration exercises, rhythmic breathing techniques. We actually exercise. You need much sunlight and always maintain a positive mind. The goal is to raise the vibration of your cells by stimulating blood flow throughout the body. These rituals must be performed every day for a period of 3 to 9 months in order to see its effects, which is to build one's vibrational level to be in harmony with one's spirit body. So this is your goal, guys. The goal is to get your cells, your physical body, in harmony, in alignment with your spirit body. This is our whole objective that we're trying to, obtain. Okay. In fact, the master teacher talks about this. I was going to go over it, and I'll do it now. In the book, Is There, where are we at? Is there eternal life after death? He talks about it in this particular book when we talk about the energy seats. Okay. I'm gonna read this paragraph where he goes into it, just so you guys can see it. So on page 92, for those who need to know, says the ancient Egyptians identified. Hold on. The ancient Egyptians identified with the third eye and was made visible through their culture, and further referred to as the sleeping serpent. Right. The third eye is your insight or inner sense that all men were born with, but most have never exercised. This is the sleeping power that one must strengthen. When the third eye is used, the whole entire body is consumed with light, meaning the etheric body and the physical body alike are in tune with each other. See, that's the goal. You have to get your physical body in alignment, in harmony with your etheric body or your spirit body, in essence, what he's saying. Okay? And that's why we're doing these rituals. This is what to consistently now doing the rituals is how you raise your body to achieve this goal, right? And so this is a breath book. This is another book that we put out to help you, in, on that path of spiritual development. Okay, so that's important to know. So let me keep going. Okay, so mastery of these skills are required in order to see the benefits of such spiritual practices, right? So refer to the breath book. We have another book, The Science of Healing. I've talked about that before, the materialization book, and our AO lessons, right? Remember, we live in a world ruled by negative forces who work day and night to keep the world's population vibrating at a very low frequency in order to maintain control over people's actions and deeds, which makes it near impossible for people to reason soundly, being mentally trapped in these lower vibrations. Question: why is the positive mind important? Answer: the first question should be asked, what is a positive mind? A positive mind is one that is able to maintain clear thoughts, pure thoughts, a mind that focuses on uplifting things at all times. A positive mind does not allow negative things or events in their life to alter their thoughts to the negative. A positive mind always acknowledges problems, but always focus on solutions to problems rather than dwell on them. A positive mind is one that guards itself against degrading thoughts such as hate, anger, jealousy, greed, desire, envy, frustration, ego, loneliness, idleness, competition, self-doubt, fear, pride, etc. A positive mind focuses its attention on working each and every day to be a better person, to perfect their actions and deeds in the positive, to be helpful to others, to be kind, never getting upset because of their failures, but focus on learning from them. The positive mind is a mental vibration that puts one in harmony with the higher spiritual dimensions, just like the negative mind disconnects one from the higher spiritual dimensions. Knowing these facts help one to understand how to achieve their spiritual goals. Question: what are the different dimensions one is trying to connect to when we pray or do rituals? Answer: there are 7 dimensional levels, or we should really say planes of existence. I also want to point out the fact that one's diet and weight are just as important as maintaining a positive mind to reach higher planes of existence. It is important that a person is as close to their natural body weight as possible if they want to see any real results from spiritual practices. Now, guys, when we talk about planes of existence, let's see, a book we put out that goes into this, the Science of Healing. If you go to Science of Healing book on page 14, we go into explaining about these planes of existence, which is extremely important. So let's see. Here we go. So on page 14, this is a book we put out called The Science of Healing. We put this book out back in like 1995, 96 or sometime, I believe. It goes on to say is this. The highest and lowest from that which has been detected is that of vibration. Everything is vibration, which manifests itself in different moods and schemes. The expression of a vibration is called a mood. Each mood acts and reacts continuously, carrying out the life process. These moods make up what is known to us as planes. Planes are moods and schemes of vibration, existing in very unique and unified forms. Moods of vibration may be likened to the varying degrees of temperature, such as extremely low. The natural mood of vibration ranges from very high and fast to very low and slow. There are 7 planes. The lowest and slowest is the material plane, while the fastest and highest is the plane where one is in total union with Pa'ut, which is the all, guys. It says the most common mistake is imagining planes as layers of strata or fine matter lying one above the other in space. This is incorrect. Planes are distinct and intricate moods of vibration, woven into one another so uniquely that one cannot determine where one plane begins and the other ends. Nothing in creation rests. Everything you hear, taste, and feel vibrates. Keep in mind that the 7 heavens or planes have 7 subplanes, and each of these subplanes have its own subplane divisions. Now, guys, before I go into this, I think it's very interesting because when you look at the Doctor Strange movies, and even this last movie that came out with Doctor Strange, with Spider-Man, the Spider-Man movie and Doctor Strange, they're introducing people now more to this concepts of these other planes of existence. The astral plane we talk about, the spiritual plane, and they're showing how Doctor Strange is able to go in and out of these planes, right? And in fact, his master teacher in the movie in the Avengers movie, they show it. His master, when the Incredible Hulk confronts Doctor Strange's master, and she separates his physical structure from his spiritual structure, right? And let me find it because I think it's an excellent concept, for people to see and be aware of. If I can find it. Here it is. Check this scene out.
I'd be careful going that way. We just had the floors waxed.
I'm looking for Dr. Strange.
You're about 5 years too early. Stephen Strange is currently performing surgery about 20 blocks that way. What do you want from him?
That, actually.
Ah! I'm afraid not.
Sorry, but I wasn't asking.
You don't want to do this.
Oh, you're right, I don't. But I need that stone and I don't have time to debate it.
Let's start over, shall we?
Now, see, look at that. He's in his astral body now. Okay? We all have the ability to do this. This is the purpose of the rituals. And it's interesting in now introducing this to people in major movies. This is a very real thing. It's a very real thing that we used to know how to do and we forgot how to do. But, we're learning about it now. So let me go back to this book on planes because this is a very important subject matter. So he goes on to say that, so you have the material plane is the plane upon which human beings dwell. This plane is partly made of solids, liquids, and gases. Now, you may feel that everything that exists only on this physical plane, meaning that nothing extra exists outside of this plane. Unfortunately, you are wrong. And if you think that the answers to all puzzling occurrences and strange phenomena are to be found in this world, then you are mistaken. Contrary to what you may imagine, there is still much yet to be discovered on this plane. Western science limits the physical plane to just three substances: solids, liquids, and gases. However, there are many more forms or states of being within the physical plane than just the three mentioned. It is obvious that the higher forms of matter are unknown and unfeasible to Western science. Okay, so this is a breakdown of the energy centers of the body. Your chakras he goes into. Then he goes on to say, this fourth classification is called ultra gaseous matter. So once you get past you have solid, liquid, and gas, and then once you get past regular gas, then you have what they call ultra gaseous matter, which is a form of ether, guys. Okay, he goes on to say, it is also known that beyond this fourth classification or subplane of matter, there are still three higher and more intricate subplanes of which the scientific speculators of the Western world have no idea. Now, the physical plane, which is the lowest of all planes, has the least and slowest speed of vibration. The more one becomes involved with the physical aspects of life, the less the chances are for elevation from this bottom-most state of existence, where all is given to low desires. Now, if human beings are to achieve this raising or elevation, you must struggle with sincerity, fact, faith, and discipline. The lower divisions of the physical is made of solids, liquids, and gases, which is able to be detected by your five foremost physical senses, which are really one. So you got see, hear, taste, smell, and feel. So he breaks down your senses, and then he goes into, guys, we have higher senses, right? Such as telepathy, intuition, psychometry, and clairvoyance. These are your higher senses that you become in tune with once you raise your vibration, guys. So that's important, to know. And so, that's it. So let's go on to where we at. All right. So, question. Dr. York has been teaching spirituality since the 1970s. So where are his students that achieved spiritual development? Okay. Yes. Answer. Yes. Dr. York has been teaching spirituality since the beginning. But Dr. York taught us that he has two types of students, right? Those who are celestial in nature and those who are terrestrial in nature. And it stands to reason stands to reason that the mass majority of Dr. York's students are terrestrial in nature, which would discount them from developing any spiritual abilities, right? Now, as for students who are celestial in nature, I would argue they may be encountering the same challenges I have, which are the distractions of life. Personally, it took me to 2007 to begin to really comprehend the spiritual concepts that Panabab Yannanen has been teaching. We also must keep in mind that we live in a world ruled by the agents of Leviathan who work day and night to keep us spiritually ignorant with distractions of all kinds, such as jobs, school, food, entertainment, relationships, family, trying to earn a living, etc. We are also plagued by 60 spirits within us because of our corrupted bloodline and negative culture we were raised in. These spirits within are why we have so many negative thoughts, feelings, emotions, lusts, desires that seem too powerful that most of us lack the willpower to control these thoughts from dominating our minds. All of the above facts are why Panabab Yananam created community living, which was designed to be a place we could detox these spirits out of ourselves. But as all know, sadly, this did not work because the disagreeable ones took our land from us, guys. Question: are there techniques or aids we could use to help us on our spiritual path? Answer: yes. One can become familiar with what we call mafkuzat. Also, when traveling the spiritual path, one must learn to keep themselves in positive environments, avoid negative people and events, even though they may be hard. Even though this may be hard living in a negative world, right? So it's hard trying to avoid negativity because unfortunately we're surrounded by it in this world. So I hope now people are beginning to see why we need our own community where we can control the flow of information. When we look at the media, all they show is negative things designed to keep all in a negative state of mind, guys. Okay, so now going to this concept of mafkuzet, we did a book on that, and so we're gonna go to that particular book that explains what that's all about. So here it is. This is the Master Secrets, number 5, and this book is called Pa Kadash Shalil Nagram at Wu Pa Mafkuzat, the secret of tones and the Mafkuzat, the elixir of life. Okay, so let's see what this book has to say on that subject. Alright. Lahe entkum munwapu khradu impa muntaru afaf sa'a Wu-Sabat. For you Nawapians, children of the overseers of Sa'a Wu-Sabat, provided for you khradu impa muntaru, children of the overseers, on this Mikab Taha, planet Earth, the monatomic elements, all 8 being transitional metals. Transitional element metals are metals that can transit buy-in between different states from metallic to monatomic, or one atom, or mono, one atomic, of or relating to atoms. A single atom no longer having normal metallic characteristics, yet Hasut now possesses superconductive capabilities and chemically inert enough to be ingested to repair your DNA, guys. So these are monatomic elements, right? It represents one atom, okay? And there's 8 of them. You have gold, platinum, iridium, rhodium, osmium, palladium, silver, and ruthenium. Okay, these are natural elements, and if you can extract one atom from it, these elements, you can use these elements to enhance you physically. Okay, so we're going to say, let's see, each of the 8 monatomic elements vibrate on a frequency. These elements also correspond with the 8 octaves of music notes of sound. In music, they are notes, pitch. In music, there are notes, pitch, and key, and sounds are tones, and tones are frequencies which can affect you inside and out. So anything that has to do with sound, be it words or music, no matter what volume it has, it controls the frequency or waves. Now, frequencies only resonate when the one wavelength is an exact multiple, the exact same key, so they vibrate together. Now, on a keyboard with 88 keys, there are repeated octaves of 8 and include 8 keys of major notes and 5 keys of sharps and flats. The major notes are utilized to achieve harmony, right? So you guys have this do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? For those who know music, are very familiar with that. And then we talked about this earlier, right? The planet Earth vibrates on the F tone. Your human body vibrates on the A tone, and nature vibrates on the C tone. Okay. Now, in order to communicate with elemental or etheric beings who are your ancestors, you need the key of C. In order to align your body with them, you need the key of A. Now, to create harmony in between, you need the key of F. Yet the foundation is A. Now, your whole body originally resonate on a resonant frequency or pitch, perfect pitch is A. You must retune your body. In fact, the Tahite's hearing apparatus or ear canal is created in such a way that it is tuned already to the frequency of A, coincided with the scale of music, and the distance between the Tahite's eardrums is an exact fraction of the wavelength of the note A. As newborn babies enter this world, the first sound they make is on the frequency or note A. So your human body was tuned to the note of A at its original design, right? As a female, your natural height was 4 feet 5 inches, and as a male, you were 5 feet 4 inches, right? They have perfect pitch. Tuning forks are used and only held in the left hand. The way to have unison or chanting, humming, singing must always be in the key of A, one note. Yet for harmony, it is more that one note has, which is Fa. Now, 3 notes in one, vibrating as all things, for males on the left side of middle C, and for females on the right side of middle C, from the center of the keyboard. Okay, and then so now, for what purpose were you children tuned to A major of the music scale? The body is able to store natural nature energy after being exposed to a small electrical charge which the body naturally produces when vibrating on A. Right? We talked about this earlier, guys. Now, this enables the body to act like a capacitor and energy storage device, thus acting as a superconductor, conducting information into information instantly from beyond this dimension into this universe. So you have the mental to your mind, right? So you have what we call the mental reservoir. We're going to do a discussion on that because we haven't talked about that yet, guys. But it goes back to what we teach. All is mind, right? And so there's what we call the mental reservoir where you can connect to. And that's what the master teacher is trying to teach us, how to do that through these rituals where you have to vibrate on a certain note or frequency, okay? He goes on to say, when exposed to minute amounts of energy, it responds in such a way that it actually floats, such as golden children can float as crafts float or hover. This absorption of natural nature energy by way of our tone A was in assistance with the monatomic elements that was once in your bodies by way of our ancestors, Muntaro, right? They call it white powder of gold, as they do all cream colored things, yet in actual fact, it's a fine dust of 8 precious elements exhibiting extraordinary properties once reduced to a single atom through an ancient science called alchemy. In ancient Hatat Fa'a or Heliopolis and Hatat Ba'a Ptah, Nubia or Napata, we call these elements Nibu or Nbu or Nabat, which means gold. Now, the gold powder had Hika'a, shortened for Hika or Hika'a, magic powers, and it was drunk as a liquid called Mafkuzat or liquid gold. Right? Now, this Mafkuzat or liquid gold would take you to a mystic state of mind and body where you meet with Pa Muntaro and Rayor transform as one of them. As you know, you have red wine, which is your blood, and white wine, which is your semen. Females, she purify her body with her Dawa moon cycle from ovulation to menstruation. Red blood cells mixed with white blood as dead cells, and upon reactivation, she will retain her pure Nabat gold powder because of her Dawa moon cycle, as long as she keeps her blood pure. When a woman joins with a man who has not transformed and drinks of his white wine and mixes her red wine with his, they give birth to a son. This causes her nabat, gold or yellow light of Atum Ra'e, to go out. So the female loses her powers when she mixes with a mortal man, is what the master is saying, right? Then and her children become mortals. Basically, the children loses their abilities. Then it goes on to say, now she transforms into a woman of a man, right? So she will need her gold or yellow light put back on or reactivated. Now the male will have to be restored or transformed differently. Men don't menstruate, so his body does not replenish itself. He does not ovulate each month, so his body does not transform. His solar plex or inner sun must be relit also. Then after he is reactivated, a female can mix with him, and there will be no problem with her retaining her gold power, because they have both have been transformed. Don't forget also that women possesses seminal fluid or liquid life or white wine, the food of Akak, ether. Now, let's take a look at these monatomic elements in depth. Now, all platinum group metals, with the exception of gold and silver, you have ruthenium, affects the human DNA, resonating and vibrating with it. A single ruthenium atom placed at each end of a short strand of DNA would dismantle the short length helix and rebuild it correctly. And that strand of DNA becomes 10,000 times more conductive, a superconductor. Okay, now in turn, this double helix creates a high conductive path along the axis of the molecule. Now, platinum compounds interact with the DNA and the cellular body, as well as ruthenium, by stimulating healthy tissue regeneration of the endocrine system, the thymus, and the heart tissue. Platinum also stimulates tissue regeneration, neurological, thus promoting increased mental perception, concentration, memory, creativity, and overall focus, guys. So if you was to learn how to get access to these elements, and the key to it, that's interesting. You have to be able to extract one atom from this material in order for it to be effective. So I'm sure there's a certain science and way to do that. I don't know who knows how to do that, but these things can help transform you, provided, now there's a key to this. You don't just go out and ingest this stuff, because there's a key to doing this, guys. But let me keep going. So he says ruthenium or iridium assists the body very similarly, clarifying and strengthening the brain, assisting with memory recall, vividness of dreams, and optimal performance of the neural circuitry. Both ruthenium assisting with human photosynthesis, receiving nutrients from the sun, and iridium assisting below the brainstem. And palladium increases the distribution of oxygen, facilitating good circulation, and it does an excellent job of containing harmful oxidants and removing them from the body. Okay? It repairs the liver and kidneys and increases the stomach acid and enzymes, promoting healthy digestion. Then you have osminium or osminium, assists in the eradication of arthritis. Then you have silver, is one of the most powerful natural antibodies, with its astonishing ability to kill disease-causing bacteria. And then you have gold, a powerful electrical conductor, and when in effect, it transforms one mortal into a nathar, and to an extraordinary level. So if someone knew how to, do this gold elixir, you can be transformed with the gold. He's saying. He goes on to say, an overall immune booster. Gold promotes super anti-aging properties. It strengthens the heart, the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, the thymus gland. It promotes cell regeneration and activates the endocrine glandular system in a way that heightens awareness, perception, and amplitude. Okay. So the Hebrew for gold became Zahab, shimmer, shine forth gold, and from Arabic it also became Zahub, to go forth or forward or going. Now it is by the powder of these monatomic elements overall that restores youth, stimulates the pineal gland, allowing an open gateway to your mind for dimensional travel, instant manifestation of thought, and superb awareness. Also affecting weight for ascension, as in levitation, or the Nebet Karad, the golden child, who can also transform and or levitate at will. Define the rules of gravity, as in describing about spirit beings called angelic beings. Now, even ghosts or persons such as Elijah, Enoch, Jesus, Moses, Muhammad, each flow with the help of levitation devices. Take note of this word. You have levitation. Now make note of the word Moses did. Or make note of what Moses did, who was raised and taught by Egypt. Our Khamen Magaz, black magic, as you read in Exodus chapter 32, when he came down after meeting with the ETs, right? Extraterrestrials, right? The concept of God in the Bible is basically ETs, guys. Says, let's see. What did he do? He transformed the golden calf of Hathor into white powder, gold dust. Then took it and dissolved it, the gold dust or white powder, in pure water. Then Moses made the Israelite Hebrews drink the mixture. So refer to Exodus chapter 32 verse 20. It reads, and he took the calf which they had made and burnt it in the fire and ground it to powder and strawed it upon the water and made the children of Israel drink it. Guys, so everybody know about that golden calf that the children of Israel was, worshiping. And so he this is what he did with that golden calf. He made it into a mafkuzet. That's what he did. It's in the Bible. It's interesting. That lets you know that, this was a science that we taught in ancient Kemet. Right? Because the Bible makes it clear that Moses learned his knowledge in Egypt. He goes on to say, now why did he do that? Only you, Nuwapians, know the hidden secret of the liquid gold. After you drink, you feel inside a strange feeling as you transform back to a Nebet Karat, a golden child, or you let it dry into a powder. Now, monatomic gold or liquid gold, Amun or Amun, which means hidden, Nub, gold, Re'e, which is the sun, Akak, ether, and Patah, which is open, you up, as in Amun, Nabab, Re'e, Akak, Patah, my liquid gold. That's what the master teacher represents. He represents that liquid gold in the flesh. He's the one who's also restoring us through these sacred words and the teachings, guys. A king asks, what about having these elements on your body? I do not know any effect on the body, because he's talking about ingesting these elements has an effect on certain glands in the body. As far as putting the elements on the body, I'm not sure how that would affect you, because remember, you're trying to connect with the electrical flow, the energy flow of the body, and your blood creates an electrical field. That's why we guys, when we're chanting, we actually create an electrical energy field in our bodies. When you're doing the rituals, that's the purpose of why we do those rituals. It literally creates an energy field. Okay? And that's what helps you connect to the other realms. Now, all this liquid gold and all these elements, it's like a supercharger, like a super boost. You don't need it. You can still make connections through the rituals. Without doing this, the master is just giving us more data, more information on things you can use to help. Now, I don't know who would even know how to create this like this. And guys, be mindful. You don't just take something like this. Okay, that's very important to understand. You don't just do that. Hold on. Let me go into that. Let me get back to that. So, because we got a lot on that. Mafku's that. Let's see here. 8. Is there any other important information we need to know about why or how prayer and rituals are key? Yes, always remember that it's very important to say prayers and rituals in our language, Sabre, right? The correct language is key for creating the right tones and vibration within the body. Also know that there are many books Panabab has written for our spiritual education, in which I recommend all of them, but to start, I suggest the Mind Scroll, guys, the Breath book, the Science of Healing, the Materialization book, and Al-Mugaraj, and Actual Facts number 17 and 18. So these are some of the books I highly recommend to get you familiar with, your spiritual development, right? So here you have the Mind Scroll we put out. This book, I don't know, 1995, 96, 97, this book came out. Very important, extremely important, guys, for those who are familiar with it, for those who are not. And then the Mugaraj, even though they took the pyramid from us, the concepts in this book, because obviously for those who do not know, this book was written for the ritual that we did in the pyramid that we built. And of course, the disagreeable ones took the pyramid from us. But the knowledge in this book is priceless. The things that the master teacher is explaining is priceless. So I highly recommend studying this particular scroll, guys. Very important to study this scroll. And then you have the hey, what's this other book? I'm always talking about this other one, the Materialization book, which is another one that was a part of a ritual that we had on our land, but they took our land from us, right? But the information in the book is still priceless, but the information is spot on. Hold on, I'm waiting for my computer to come on. Taking. Okay. So where's that particular book? Because I'm always talking about it, and I want you guys to be thoroughly familiar with it, and this is, again, for your own spiritual development. The Ancient Egyptian Materialization, right? This is a very important book, and this is the book about concentration, about developing your concentration to high levels, and it until a level where it teach you how to open your third eye through doing this ritual consistently, right? Again, you have to master these rituals, so it's no joke. And then you have these books right here, the Actual Facts number 17 and 18. This is number 17, Actual Facts, Emotional Energy, and Actual Facts number 18, which is this tone, sound, DNA molecules. Now, in fact, let me touch on this a little bit. The emotional energy. This is very important, guys, to be familiar with this particular information in this book when it comes to doing your rituals. Okay. Let's see. So it goes on to say here, now electrons and other subatomic particles are not solid. They are clusters of energy in motion, right? The charges of electricity, which explains certain attractions and repulsions, relative to charge and magnetic fields. Every particle within an atom, or we say atom, moves in an orbit. Even the proton in the atom's nucleus travels a very tight orbit, which determines its apparent diameter. In addition to orbiting, there is another important motion of all subatomic particles. It's called nutation, or nutate, or noop, or droop. Noopians, you must understand nutational motion because it is the very key to the secrets of this universe you are in right now. Every subatomic particle spins about its own internal axis, and nutation refers to a wobble of the axis of rotation. Each particle in the physical universe experiences a nutational period of precisely the exact same rate. So in fact, each subatomic particle of matter and each quantum particle of electromagnetic energy spins on its own axis, just as this planet Earth turns on its own poles. And that's all these axes wobble at one constant rate, regardless of the energy or mass called its sum, as in sum of a thing or something, sum of its weight, size of its particle. It's very important that you distinguish between spinning and orbiting, although all particles spin. Those particles which also travel in close orbits comprise matter, whereas energy particles travel in straight lines. Right? So energy, like the sun sends out energy that travels in a straight line, as opposed to particles that orbit, like your cells in your body. it orbits, it rotates, it don't travel anywhere. But he goes on to say, energy can be changed into matter and vice versa. However, the nutational rate of these particles never vary, nor is there any physical power in this universe which can alter the nutational rate one bit. Right? So this nutational rate is constant he's talking about, okay, in the universe, and the nutational rate is the same regardless of the size of something. So as big as the sun has the same nutational rate, as small as the elements inside your body. Okay, so know this, Noopians, gravity and magnetism, which are in fact different manifestations of the same force, are inherent in the actual spin of etheric particles. Okay, and then it goes on to say, see, matter is essentially a concept of the human being's sense perceptors, which themselves are of the same matter. This world and everything in it is composed of atoms, yet atoms are only clusters of energy whose seemingly solidity and integrity are due to the circular motions of their components. An atom is almost entirely empty space consistent of a central blob of swirling energy sheaths by the orbits of electrons. Right, guys? When you study an atom, you have a proton and you have the electrons, right? But it's mainly just empty space, you know. And everything is made of atoms, is what the master teacher is trying to explain. Okay, so it says orbiting electrons describe a more or less spherical shell of energy. However, don't see in your mind's eye that this shell makes the atom a hollow ball of some concreteness. The emptiness in which the subatomic particles exist can be seen by the supposition that if the nucleus of an atom were enlarged to the size of the sun, you see, the shell described by its electrons would be 24 times greater than the diameter of the solar system. So now you have the nucleus, which is the proton and the neutron, right? And then you have those they said, what he's trying to say, if you was to make that proton and neutron the size of the sun itself, the electrons that orbit the electrons that orbit the nucleus, the electrons that orbiting size would be 24 times bigger than the solar system. That's how much space is within each element. Okay, So I hope y'all can visualize that. I wish I had diagrams. If I had diagrams, then I could make this more, clear. But it's important to get this, guys. I can't stress this enough. When you're trying to understand spirituality, we're trying to explain the science of your body, the science of existence itself, so that when you're doing prayers and chanting, you're not. See, remember, religious people do those things and they don't understand the science of it, so they don't have any effects. They don't have any results because there's a methodology to this, a certain state of consciousness. You have to be in a certain vibration. You have to create a certain type of frequency, and that's what I'm trying to explain here. And so these concepts and principles are extraordinarily important for you to comprehend. Take your time. I know this, information is new. It's tedious, but take your time if you truly want to have real spiritual results, guys. So let me keep going. So now it says, think like this. A pound of iron, which seems quite solid and pawnable to human beings, is in fact really no more than an aggregation of swirls of energy separated by comparatively vast reaches of emptiness. Now, so he's trying to say, even though iron may seem extremely solid, in its elemental form, it's not really solid. It gives the illusion of that. And we don't understand the difference because we're vibrating at such a low vibration like the iron is. But if you was able to raise your vibration, then you would be able to affect the elements within the iron itself. This is really what the master is trying to get at. Okay? That what we're calling solid is really an illusion. What we're calling solid matter is really illusion. Once you understand the different planes of existence, I was talking about the planes earlier in our discussion. It's important to understand these concepts. Okay? He goes on to say, also the physical body of mortals, this applies to as well. The cells which comprise the physical body, tissue, nerves, and blood are of the same intangible swirls. So you see, Nuwapians, electromagnetic energy such as radio, heat, light, and X-rays can be envisioned as traversing the ether in the form of bullets or clusters called quantum particles. And now, Nuwapians, this is Akak, ether. The entire universe is permeated with a basic energy which is of a ratified concentration compared to the energy bundles which comprise atoms and quantum particles. So he's saying that the universe universe itself is made of this ether energy. Okay? You will have a hard time trying to conceive the basic energy with the same understanding associated with energy because the basic type had no motion and cannot impart force. It is quintessent, passive, imperceptible. It is the Muat, mother of energy and matter. It is that form which all things are created, and she is revealed to you by evidence existing in the wave phenomena of the propagation of light, and that in moods of vibration of the three colors, blue, yellow, red, which birth all others. By this we know she is Pa'ut, Pa-Pa'ut. This basic energy, or Akak, ether, imposes a limit on the speed of light, and it's all within dark matter. So space is not empty. What we're talking about is within this dark matter, this energy, this ether, right? It doesn't have movement. It just exists there until it's time to manifest something, or you have the ability to tap into this energy, this ether energy, guys, is what the master's, is alluding to here. But he's trying to make you aware that existence is based on this energy, this ether. Now, scientists call it the quantum field force. This is their knowledge of what they call ether. I've talked about this before. They don't use the terminology ether anymore. They use the terminology quantum field force, because they're only tapping into one layer of it, because there's layers of ether energies. That's important also to know. Let's go. Now she controls this ether, this energy. She keeps control over all. Otherwise, you might expect a quantum of Nawar light to achieve any speed depending on the amount of energy that could be exerted upon it. If space were truly empty or nothingness, no thing exists, then radiant energy would be able to travel at any rate in an infinite range of speeds instead of having an upper limit, which has been named the speed of light, which is 186,000 miles per second. Right? So the speed of light is constant, guys. So the question is, what's keeping the speed of light constant? And the master is trying to say is this substance, this dark energy that's maintaining a certain type of frequency for the universe, including it's what keeps the speed of light. Because if there's nothing that's doing it, then why is speed of light constant? Right? Meaning if you should be able to create a force to make the speed of light go faster or slower, but you can't do it, is what he's trying to say. So something is keeping that constant, speed of light constant is in essence. Now it goes on to say all electromagnetic radiation travel at exactly the same maximum speed through space, whether it be low energy radiation or high energy radiation, right? Now, Nawapians are analogous to the way air is the carrier of sound vibrations. The basic energy permeating of space is a fluid carrier of quantum particles. And what do they say of ether, substance of fluid which fills all space, or colorless, volatile liquid, used as an anesthetic, ether, light, airy, heavenly, and ethereally. Note, emotions and ethical, relating to or treating of mortals, ethics, science of moral principles, rules of conduct, ethnics of a race, or ethnography, description of races of mortals, ethnos, descriptive character, genius, ethical, makeup, and from whom the mother to the child, never from the father. It's Mother Nature, Pa Pa'ut. She produces all the energy to keep the cell alive. Mother of all living. Woman, female, is God, goddess. And she is from where man or male comes and predates man. Exactly. This is the best kept secret that is best to be made known now. We live in her womb in liquid until we're reborn into air. Bolts are ethers and of quantum particles. Particles of radiation, energy, must buck the speed barrier inherent in basic energy. As particles comprising of electromagnetic radiation proceed through space, a chattering effect with wave-like pulses result. The more energy a particle has, the greater its frequency of its chatter, or that which makes a sound, which makes light, which makes things sum up to something. Where there is water, liquid, moisture, or from atom, we get tefnut, which is water, and from her, shu, which is air, and from them you get nuts, which is sky, and from her you get geb, which is earth, and of them, mortals, you get aset, which represents Lilith, and Asar, which is Abel, and then you have Nebtat, which is Eve, and you have Satuk, who's Cain, and Har, who's Set. Those are the Egyptian deities for those who don't know, and this is where the Bible got these concepts. They copied the concepts from our Egyptian culture, and he's in the master teacher showing the simulations, and it's also related to nature because each of these deities represents a principle in nature, right? Then it says life from the living waters became these from the Nunet and Nun, and you have Hihet and Ha, and you have Kiket and Kek, and you have Niaut and Niu, and you have Amunet and Amun of the waters, called the Camino, snake-headed females and frog-headed males of the deep, right? So these are our ancestral principles of nature that our ancestors taught about in ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt. Okay? Now, he goes on to say, so now, Nawapians, that you have a clear understanding of the inanimate to the animate physical world, right? Let us talk about the phenomena of living things now in relatively simple terms. As you know, there are 7 abodes of existence spoken about and 2 which they dare not speak about, making it 9 abodes in all. We will begin with this known universe, the material plane of things and physical plane of beings living. Both are in fact one abode, just vibrating on higher and lower rates. We call them per at, or abodes, or planes, or realms. Now the physical abode is the slowest, not in direction, but in state of existence, being the lowest of the 7, and it consists of subabodes. Now each subdivide into subabodes on and 1 and becomes atoms of matter and quanta of energy, order, and time. The physical abode is referred to as the slowest abode because the nutational rate of its constituent atoms and quanta has the slowest frequency of the 7. Guys, he's talking about the different planes of existence. There's 7 planes or 9 planes of existence, and each plane has its own nutational rate. And we as humans are existing on a material plane. Okay, and when you move up to the next round, it's called the plane of force, and that's where the vibrations are vibrating higher. That's when you're tapping into your spirit body, trying to say you have to raise up into a different nutational rate, is what he's trying to explain. He goes on to say this planet we call Fanun, and the stars and the light you see are all of the lowest nutational rate. Each of the 7 abodes of existence consists of atoms and quanta, and each abode is differentiated from others by the nutational rate of the matter energy composing it. Therefore, there are 7 nutational rates, 1 for each abode of existence. They who rule for 6,000 years, 6 ether beings, don't have any scientific instrument on this physical material abode which can detect or measure the presence of the 3 higher abodes, the 7, 8, or 9 ethers. They vibrate much faster and at a higher rate. That will destroy them. These are more refined, more divine abodes of existence. Now, Nuwapians, you Nagaru vibrate on all 9 ether abodes at the same time as atoms and energy of 1 nutational rate, and are not in rapport as they were with those at a different nutational rate. What he's saying is that we as Nagaru, we vibrate on all the abodes at the same time, guys. Says that each race, those being root races, the oldest and fastest to vibrate is the Nagaru, followed by their many sub-races, and the last root race is the Caucasoid and its many sub-races, which vibrate only up to 6 ether, and the Mongoloids up to 7, while the originators, the Nagaru, cover all vibrations as the creators of all others from themselves up to 9 ether. Inasmuch as the nerve composing of mortals, 1 sense, which is touch, which became 4 other senses in growth. So it says light touches to see, particles touch by the ear to smell, waves vibrate to touch the eardrum to hear, and matter touch the taste buds to taste. He's talking about your 5 senses, right? It's all based on touch. Yet all of them are contact with the nerve composing what mortals call their 5 senses, right? While in fact, that's only for the other 2 root races, while the divine race of goddesses and gods, not demigods, as the Mongoloids, or demons as the Mukasu, the Nagaru have higher senses, 4 higher to make up the 9 senses, all of atoms, while the mortals claim their 5 physical senses and agree is all of atoms of the same nutational rate as those of any other physical instrument. Their 5 senses are also unable to perceive the higher abodes. Yet, as you Nawapians vibrate now on this lower abode and use only your 5 senses, there are certain inner powers inherent in you as a seed of the Natharu. It is in your blood, and by such you have ether and Ba, which is soul, and Ka, which is spirit, while other mortals only have Ach, which is ether, and Ka, spirit. So their mental powers are limited. So you must drop your vibrating level down to theirs for them to come in and use your physical body on this abode. and by you travel to higher abodes and enact their evil. Yet you have to welcome them by accepting their ways, actions, their lusts, greeds, emotional attractions to their own kind, which is all they can feel for. They only love kind and animal kind, being they vibrate at the same rate with all other animals and beasts. Kill to rule, kill to eat, kill for joy, kill for pleasure, evil by their very nature. And once you accept his 1 to 6 ether beings of spirits forces into your being, you have in fact lost your ba, your soul, and become one of them. However, certain powers inherent in your mind can provide the means whereby the upper forces of Hu, your oversoul, will pull you back above by chanting and prayer and devotion to that which is right to do, guys. And so this is the key to raising your vibration off from this dimension. He's trying to explain the different realms of existence that we have the ability to connect to, provided we do the rituals. That's why I read all of that. To get you familiar, one, we have to be familiar with all these different abodes, guys. This is why I say you got to take your time to comprehend all of this stuff. You know, it's extremely important. This is an extremely important book that deals into the subject matter, but we're running out of time, unfortunately, because there's so much more to cover. But we just don't have the time, because this is another book that goes into it. My point and purpose is trying to get you guys to understand that there's a science to our rituals. There's a science to prayer. There's a science to chanting. There's a science to meditation and doing concentration exercises. There is an objective. You're doing this towards an objective. Okay? And the goal is to get your body vibrating at a certain rate, a certain frequency. That's your goal. You know? And it's important that you understand what your goal is. And it is important when you're doing rituals, you understand what you're trying to achieve. Because people don't know. People don't know these things. And that's why we're going over them. Okay, question. Last question. Are there set ways or times that we pray? Yes. We pray 3 times a day at 9 a.m., 3 p.m., 9 p.m., and 3 a.m. for those who wake early. The reason why we have set times is for the purpose of conditioning ourselves the same way an athlete trains their body for competitions. Repetition conditions our body so that our cells would be able to vibrate in harmony with our spirit energy. Once one is able to reach this level of conditioning, spiritual awareness increases. But always remember to only practice rituals in a positive state of mind and for the right reasons. Nothing good will come out of spiritual practices that is rooted in selfish objectives. Our goal is to reach our potential so that we can be a better service to others and not self. Okay? So that's, guys, that's real important for you guys to know. When you're doing any kind of spiritual work, any kind of spiritual rituals or prayers, and things like that, you have to do it in a positive mind. It can't be about selfishness. It's about, we do spiritual development for us to be better. To be better, to be a better you, to be the best you, because by being the best you can be the best service to others. It's not being a service to yourself, it's about being a service to others. This culture teaches you to be a better you, to serve yourself, to get rich, to serve yourself, to keep buying yourself this. That's why people who reach certain levels in this society of wealth and fame, whatever, they serve themselves. They buy themselves big houses and cars and this and that, while everyone else around them is suffering. That's not our culture. And you're not going to see any, spiritual results with that train of thought. Because that kind of thought cuts you off from those realms. So that's just a word of advice. With that being said, remember, knowledge rules ignorance. And mind your mind for the jewel of your soul. So like I said, that was a lot. That was a lot. I highly recommend you guys, really take your time, study these concepts, study these principles for those who are serious about their own spiritual development. I can't stress, this enough. For those of you guys who are really on the path of self-development. It's just crucial. Okay. Akeem, what about having only problem is praying together at 9 with different time zones. Yeah, Akeem, this is why we're supposed to be in a community, right? That we're all supposed to be striving towards that, to so that we can, because the fact that we're all over the place, that's what the problem is. We're supposed to set up our own communities so that we can exist like this as a body of people and do these things as groups. Because individually we say it in our prayers. You can succeed as a part of all, but you fail as an individual, and that's why we say those things. We need the group. So it's 9. We're gonna do our 9 o'clock prayer, and that's why I do the prayers, guys. Just this is a reminder why I do it to so you guys are familiar with it, so you understand the importance of it, and hopefully you guys, as I'm doing it, you guys do the prayers with me. And for those who are new, I always talk about, we do the prayers in our language, but you can follow along. We have the English translation until you eventually learn how to say it in the correct language, right? So just do it in English till you learn how to do it in the correct language. Okay? And follow along. That's important. Follow along. With that being said, we're going to, close out with our prayer. Excuse me. Bade Kalal Namasat Wufad Kor Amad Kasemun Shalal Put Pa Takyud Anuki Jawef Pa Ashuk M Pa Put Wu Kalat Ashuk Kawun Jawefnia Anuki Kasamun M Pa Put Wu Pa Put Kawun Kasamun Emnia Anuki Wahu Ama Pa Put Wu Pa Put Kawun Wahu Amahnia Nakuk Kador Naju Amad Kasamun Impa Put Wu Kabu Amad Muskasun Nakuk Kador Kawan Kaleb Afaf Nakuk Daya Jaweb Pa Put Amad Wase Amad Dayani Kawun Lake Bakui Jaweb Pa Put Anuki Yabab B Nafasni Pa Put Kawun Anuki Pa Put Kador Nakuk Kador Pa Put Amul Nakuk Amul Lahahum Manahnun Lahahum Manahnun Ahumata Korehum Ahumata Korekum Ahumata Korenun Ahumata Jawefnia Ahumata Niyawu Anukihum Yaye Ashuk Re'e Asmua Jayenun Yaye Nataru Afuknun Anunata Mukraukum Yaye Nataru Afuknun Afuknun Yaye Notaru Nun Anun Atun Amun. Namazo Wahu Yaye Mufaku Yayehu Yaye Notaru Yaye soye, yaye notaru. Yaye hika, yaye notaru. Ankum ata pa mufaku. Yayehu, yaye notaru. Ankum ata pa mufaku. Wu anu ata mukraukum. Wu ankum ata musanun. Yayehu, yaye notaru. Aro muklasnum atum uree. Yayehu, yaye notaru. Namazo atu aronhu. Yaye mukdamu afudnun. Ankum mane yakel lodudu muslafunun. Wu musaunun. Mane yakel sawura paba. Mane yake kawuna ka'u. Mane yake ata akak. Mane yake kawuna basha wu damam. Yaye nataru mukdamunun. Aro muftadnun. Anhu kawuna maza mane pa nataru. Aro anhu. Anhu kawuna baba yananan. Aro anhu. Anhu kawuna atum re'e. Aro anhu. Anhu kawun haroa. Namazo dalu. Yaye nataru muslafunun. Afudnu mane pa mujwa'u. Afudnu mane gal ha'an. Yaye nataru afudnun. Mane saya khayara. Afudnun afudniya. Afudnun afudniya. Yaye nataru nun. Namazo rabu pa tahmui. Nakuk talub tahmui bi pa nataru. Mane pa la'en lawi tananu. Kale ranu atni at the lehe pa nataru. Wu kale namazo atni at the lehe kayat yatan laye pa nataru. Pa sawa wu pa turu. Bane misfa kawun. Pa sawa wu pa turu. Zi kawuna nazula lehe enkum. Mane masba wu masa. Ame hade en un. Wu damau un. Mane muslafukum. Wu nataru. Aju laye nafasukum. Afuk shene kawunkum. Pa sawa wu pa taruk. Pa hadayan wu pa damau. An nun tawu ankum. Lahe penen danau wu shafe. An nun tawu ankum. Lahe tim na suinun. An nun tawu ankum. Lahe ashukuma. Ankum at the muslafunun. Anun at the mukra'ukum. Anun talub nasakuma. Anun talub nasakuma. And so nun kahen nataru. And so nun muslafunun. Anun at the musbatu. Anun. Atun. Atun. Amun. Yaye nataru nun. Yaye mufta'u. Yaye nataru. Yaye atum re. Yaye natar. Yaye nun. Yaye natar. Yaye nun tat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye ha. Yaye natar. Yaye ha tat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye kak. Yaye natar. Yaye kak tat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye amun. Yaye natar. Yaye amun tat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye atun. Yaye natar. Yaye shashash. Yaye natar. Yaye tafafna tat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye sabab. Yaye natar. Yaye natat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye arash tat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye asar. Yaye natar. Yaye nabab tahatat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye satak. Yaye natar. Yaye hara. Yaye natar. Yaye haptui. Yaye natar. Yaye anaktat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye ahaharatui. Yaye natar. Yaye nafartun. Yaye natar. Yaye mantu. Yaye natar. Yaye bapti. Yaye natar. Yaye sechem tat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye hata haratat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye baibis. Yaye natar. Yaye patata. Yaye natar. Yaye basas tat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye imhatat. Yaye natar. Yaye hu. Yaye natar. Yaye matat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye mahat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye kafafre e. Yaye natar. Yaye mishkinat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye horaye tat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye kintamin to you. Yaye natar. Yaye hika'a. Yaye natar tat. Yaye natar tat. Yaye natar tat. Ya ye ma'at. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye hudanen tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye shay. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sashat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye mafdat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sabak. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye anab. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye khanun. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye khanas. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye patatanun. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye soye. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye haktat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye amas. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye saraptwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye atum re'e. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye tahutwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye patatawarat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sakatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye ha. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye nehebka'a. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye sakar. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye ba'a. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye akar. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye inharatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye wapawatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sakat hatap tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye meritat sakar tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye soye tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye karatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye asat inu. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye bahatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye chanem tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye manaktat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye chamem. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye mahatwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye kabeb sin and afaf. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye damata afaf. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye meritat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye nasat. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye imdadat tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye nakakbatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sakhatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye anaktat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye dadad. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye tum. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye wahu. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye yasas. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye anach. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye afterwit. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye satat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sakatwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye imat. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye nana. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye imnuit. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye imsataktwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye mukdal tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye warahashafaf. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye maratwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye amun re'e. Ya ye nathar. Yehu Anun Ata Kaleh Jawaf Pa'ut Ah Nun Re'e Ah Tun Re'e Ah Tun Re'e Ah Mun Re'e Ye Aum Amun 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 Amun. Agenda 4. Okay. For those who are not familiar with our prayer systems, again, we go through the chants, we say the prayers, we go through the chants, and then we do that chant at the end. And guys, when you're doing, as soon as you finish your chant, you're supposed to go into a meditative state, right? You're supposed to, you did your prayers, you did your chants, You have your mind now in the right place. That's one of the things, what the prayers are designed to do, is to condition your mind and put your thoughts in a harmonious state. And then you go into the meditated state, right? And the goal there is just to listen, to be able to tap into those hidden tones, those hidden frequencies that we're not aware. And it's all around us. It's all around us, but we're not aware because we're stuck in this vibration. And so these rituals are designed to help pierce that, to help you develop past it. So, again, that's edification for your soul. And hopefully you guys will put it to good use. Until then, right? Until the next time, next week, be blessed, be safe, and much love to all y'all. I bid y'all all farewell.